Okay, I think we're live. Hi guys. Hope you're all doing well. So, super excited. I got the camera set up, so now we have a nicer visual of me. So that's pretty cool. You get to see Bob, which is nice. I'm not going to touch him because he's kind of gross. So yeah. That is exciting. Okay, so we're gonna continue where we left off yesterday, which is, we got like a couple of, might have gotten a couple of pages through. Philosophy Who Needs It, and I think last time we were trying to break down. I was breaking down what the fuck this paragraph meant because I was confused. So let me try and remember the context. All right, so the technique of undercutting man's mind consists in palming off the man-made as if it were the metaphysically given, then ascribing to nature the concepts that refer to men's lack of knowledge, such as chance or choice or contingency, then reversing the two elements of the package deal. From the assertion, man is unpredictable, therefore nature is unpredictable, the argument goes to, nature possesses volition, man does not. Nature is free, man is ruled by unknowable forces. Nature is not to be conquered, man is. Yeah, still doesn't make sense. Okay. So what did I write? So what I wrote down, claim its position, the man-made as the metaphysically given. So this first sentence, well, part of this first sentence, you kind of you swap the two concepts. So you confuse the man-made with the metaphysically given, and then you ascribe to nature, i.e. the metaphysically given, concepts that apply only to man, such as chance or contingency. And then I was defining chance and contingency just in order to understand exactly what she means. I think I was into chance. All right. Okay. Fuck. Sorry. Went down the wrong pipe. Okay, so chance. We got a couple of, well, we have 6 definitions. Yep. All right, so chance. Something that happens unpredictably without human intention. Oh, forgot the or. Okay, something that happens unpredictably without human intention or observable cause. The assumed impersonal purposelessness determiner of unaccountable happenings. Luck. The fortuitous or incalculable element in existence. Contingency. A situation favoring some purpose, opportunity. The possibility of a particular outcome in an uncertain situation and the degree of likelihood of such an outcome. And then we have risk. Okay, so there's 6 definitions there. What is most likely what the author means? Where the fuck is the book? There it is. The technique of undercutting man's mind consists in palming off the man-made as if it were the metaphysically given, then ascribing to nature concepts that refer only to man's lack of knowledge, such as chance. So chance is referring to man's lack of knowledge. Okay, I don't think it's risk, so we can axe that one. That one seems good. Also, guys, if anyone, I don't know if anyone's here. I can't read chat yet because I'm new to streaming and I haven't set that up. So if you're chatting, I'm so sorry. I cannot see what you're saying. But I'll probably have that set up this weekend. So once that happens, or when the weekend comes, I'll be able to interact with chat, which will be nice. All right, well, I asked 2 definitions. I don't, such as risk. Yeah, she doesn't mean risk. A situation favoring some purpose. I don't think she means that. I think she means the possibility of a particular outcome in an uncertain situation. So uncertain refers to knowledge. Like you don't have complete knowledge of something, so you don't know what's going to happen. So because of that, there's a chance it could go this way, there's a chance it could go that way, but you don't know. So because we don't have complete knowledge of a certain, I don't know, situation or problem, we have to assign probabilities of outcomes. So this is like, I don't know, 40% chance, this is 60%, whatever. If we had complete knowledge, we could say, oh, this is definitely going to happen, but we don't because we are not omniscient. So I think that makes the most sense. But the only reason, if you take out human knowledge, like chance doesn't make sense outside of the context of human knowledge because whatever is going to happen is going to happen because there are causal mechanisms causing something in particular to happen. Our issue is we just don't have complete knowledge of those causal mechanisms because they can be very complex. So So we have to assign probabilities based on the knowledge we do have. I think that makes sense. And so what Rand is claiming is that people are assigning the concept of chance, which only pertains to human knowledge, to nature, to the metaphysically given, which doesn't make sense because whatever's going to happen is going to happen because there's a specific causal mechanism at play. All right, that makes more sense to me. Again. All right, what does contingency mean? Oops. Contingency. Huh. All right, contingency is a contingent event or condition, an event that may but is not certain to occur, something liable to happen as an adjunct to or result of something else, the quality or state of being contingent. Okay, so it sounds like something that could happen but we don't know. All right, what is contingent? Dependent on or conditioned by something else. Okay, so a contingency, this could happen. I'm guessing it means, or I think it means this thing will happen, this contingency, if this other thing happens. So it's like, if this thing happens, which we don't know is going to happen, then this contingency will happen, or occur, or result, whatever. Oops. Mother. Oh, God damn it. Sorry, I think my computer's being a bit difficult. Contingent. Here we go. Dependent on or conditioned by something else, not logically necessary. Okay, so for contingency, all right, so contingency is saying, I think, if this first thing happens, then this second thing will happen. But we don't know if this first thing is going to happen. Therefore, we don't know if the second thing is going to happen. And again, it pertains to human knowledge. It's because the reason why we need the concept is because, well, let's put it this way. If we knew everything and we knew, okay, this first thing's going to happen, therefore the second thing is going to happen, then we would just say, this is what's going to happen. We wouldn't need a concept of, we wouldn't need contingency, because contingency implies it could happen, it could also not happen. We don't know. So to ascribe to nature and not human knowledge the concept of contingency, it doesn't make sense. Because knowledge is baked into the concept, or the concept of knowledge is baked into the concept of contingency. It depends on human knowledge in order for contingency to be legitimate. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, then reversing the two elements of the package deal. From the assertion, man is unpredictable, therefore nature, this is where I'm most confused. From the assertion, man is unpredictable, therefore nature is unpredictable, the argument goes to, nature possesses volition, man does not, nature is free. How do you jump from that, bro? What? That's a crazy jump to me off of my initial impression. Like, what? Man is unpredictable, therefore nature is unpredictable. Okay, I sort of get that. So you ascribe concepts to man, such as chance, contingency. Well, okay, unpredictable, unable to predict, meaning unable to know with certainty. All right, I'm defining unpredictable now because I want to be very clear on this. All right. So unpredictable. So she could mean unpredictable in a few ways here. From the assertion, man is unpredictable. Ways that cannot be expected. Which is basically free will. Because we have free will, we can act in ways we can do weird shit that you wouldn't expect. Because we're not determined. Or at least that's her argument, I think. So man possesses It could also mean man is not able to be known or declared in advance. Man is not able to be known. Therefore, nature is not able to be known. The argument goes to nature possesses volition. How do you jump from... I still don't understand how you jump from that. Oh, wait. Okay. Nature, because nature is unpredictable, it must have volition because volition is that unpredictable element. But how do you go from man does not have volition? Because man is also unpredictable. Because you swap them. Ah, so you reverse. Okay. I think I'm starting to understand her argument. So you, all right, you ascribe characteristics. You swap the characteristics of the man-made and the metaphysically given. And the key difference between those two things is human choice and intention and human action. And like the key there is volition, free will. So if you swap the two, you ascribe free will to the metaphysically given, to nature, and you ascribe man as determined. Or I guess that man doesn't have free will. All right, that. And then nature is not to be conquered, man is. All right, first let me write down that argument. So, okay, man is unpredictable, therefore nature is unpredictable. And then the argument goes to nature possesses volition, that unpredictable element. Man does not, because you're ascribing concepts that refer to nature to man. Nature is free, man is ruled by unknowable forces. So yeah, that nature is free, nature has free will. Man is ruled by unknowable forces. Not sure about that. Man is ruled by forces would make sense. We don't have free will. We're ruled by forces outside of our control, and we're simply meatbags that whatever act in accordance with a causal change that we had no influence over. Unknowable forces. I don't know about unknowable. I guess if we don't have free will, we can't have knowledge. I don't think, because knowledge depends on free will. Then the last the last jump in the argument, nature is not to be conquered, man is. Don't know about that. So I see this. I'm following up until this point, but then the jump from that to nature is not to be conquered, man is. Well, okay. Human nature requires conquering nature. By that, I mean rearranging nature to suit our needs. That is, well, it's sort of how all animals survive in a sense. Like all animals have to, well, I guess actually let me take that back. That's not. I don't think that's true. Humans, the unique thing about humans is that we have reason, we have a rational faculty, and so because of that, we can use that, come up with concepts, and go out in the world and come up with plans, and then apply those plans in the real world and get some sort of result. And those plans require like doing stuff with the natural world, building tools, building shelters, clothes, farming, using technology to change the environment that's more so that it's more suitable and conducive for human life. That's what humans do. That's how we live. And that's why we're so dominant now. It's fundamentally because of the brain, because of our big brains. So if you switch, but if you're ascribing concepts, oh, I'm really stretching myself. If you ascribe concepts that only apply to man, to humans, to nature, you're kind of flipping that paradigm. You're flipping, oh, nature is free. Fuck, this is confusing. Nature is free. Nature's purpose is to rearrange its environment and like fuck with man, I guess. That doesn't make sense. I wish I could read chat. Chat, help me. I'm confused. What do you think, Bob? He's thinking. So, all right, let me try to clarify this argument. Because it is man's nature to rearrange the natural environment, to conquer the natural environment. I don't know if conquer is the best word because of the negative connotations, but it's to rearrange and change the environment to suit his needs. If we're swapping the nature of man with the nature of nature, which is what Rand is claiming people are doing, they're confusing these two things, then it would follow that the nature of nature is to conquer man, to control man and like dictate, like basically have man serve nature's needs. All right, that's good enough. I think I generally get the argument. Okay, so Rand's claiming that most people think this is academic hogwash, that it doesn't mean shit, who cares, there's no practical significance. And then Rand is responding to that with this package deal and all the other package deals that, well, not package deals, but all the other just confusing claims that academics make in philosophy causes self-doubt and uncertainty. Because you just, like, philosophy is really important for living, and if you don't understand it, you're going to have no guidance for your life. And that's going to result in a lot of uncertainty and a lot of doubt. You're going to doubt your fundamentals, and that's bad. Okay, this is a interesting paragraph. Most men have no knowledge of the nature or the functioning of a human consciousness, and consequently no knowledge of what is possible to them, what one can or cannot demand of oneself and of others, what is or is not one's fault. I think that's true. If you don't understand your consciousness, you're not going to know what's possible. You don't know what you should expect of yourself. You don't know what's your fault and what's not your fault. And a large part of this chapter is the metaphysically given versus the man-made, is helping to clarify what is your fault or your responsibility and what isn't. The metaphysically given is not, like, you shouldn't feel any guilt over trying to change that. I've said this multiple times in past sessions, but you shouldn't feel guilt over that because it's out of your control. The man-made, which is influenced by human consciousness and the result of human action, and human action is the result of human consciousness, of free will, enacting your free will. If you fuck up in that domain, you fuck up on the man-made, then yeah, and like, not because of a lack of knowledge, but because, I don't know, you had a moral failing. Yeah, you should feel guilty for that. But you shouldn't feel guilty over, like, I don't know, trying to change something you have no control over. Because it's just a waste of effort. Now, of course, that's easier said than done. But it's what you should strive toward. So anyways, I think this is a true statement. On the implicit premise that consciousness has no identity, men alternate between the feeling that they possess some sort of omnipotent power over consciousness, that they can abuse it with impunity. It doesn't matter, it's only in my mind. And the feeling that, so this is kind of like delusion, I think. So, actually, let me finish this. And the feeling that they have no choice, no control, that the content of consciousness is innately predetermined, and that they are victims of the unpenetrable mystery inside their own skulls, prisoners of an unknowable enemy, helpless automatons driven by inexplicable emotions. I can't help it, that's the way I am. So this seems like there's like two things going on here. It's like determinism, no control over anything, versus like, like libertarian free will or whatever the term is, where like your consciousness can, well, actually, I don't even know if it's that. It's either I have no control or I have complete control over everything. It seems like those are the alternatives that Rand is positing. And then, of course, people are in between. Like, we're not always like one or the other. I'm sure, people are, there's an in between. But really, you have to recognize the things you can control and the things you can't control. All right, I'm going to write this down. I like this sentence or paragraph. But if you don't know what consciousness is or how it works, you're not going to be able to understand the difference between what you can control and what you can't control. At least I don't think. Okay, so I want to try and concretize this. If you don't know the nature of your consciousness or how it works, how it functions, then you're not going to know how to use it, or at least not how to use it effectively, and you're not going to know what it's capable of. So what can consciousness do? What is its function? Does consciousness create reality, create your perceptions like from thin air? I think some philosophers, well, definitely some philosophers do believe that. Or is consciousness simply the faculty that perceives what is there, what exists already? And so if you were gone, if you died, what exists would still be there. Also, how does consciousness work? How do you use it, right? Now, perceptions are automatic, right? You simply open your eyes and you see shit. But concept formation, that requires effort, and there's a specific process that goes into forming concepts. And if you don't know what that process is, you're not going to be, you'll probably have some rudimentary understanding of forming concepts because we live by concepts, and we communicate using concepts. So you'll have some sort of idea, but it's going to be rudimentary. It's going to be basic. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, just in a factual sense. Like you're not going to have a deep understanding of how you form concepts, and that's really important for living and for literally doing anything. No knowledge of what is or is not possible to them. Yeah, you're not going to know how to use your consciousness, and you're not going to know what your consciousness is capable of doing. What one can or cannot demand of oneself and of others. Yeah, I don't know, if you're the type of person that believes you can do literally anything, not literally anything, but because like some things are obvious, like yeah, you can't fly, I can't live through fire, whatever. But like, I don't know. What would be an example of this? What one can or cannot demand of oneself and of others. I don't know if this example works, but it's what's coming to my mind right now. So if you just hired an employee and he's very new to the job, doesn't have many skills, but he's, eager and excited and intelligent, and like he's got good fundamental traits. And you expect him to do like a perfect job off the bat. That's stupid. Like he doesn't have the skills, and he hasn't gained the skills yet, which requires going through, a process of learning, which relates to consciousness. And so if you expect that like you can just will your way to success instantaneously, you're going to be wrong, because that's not how consciousness works. You have to go through a process and learn, which requires time and yada yada. So you're going to make irrealistic demands on that employee, and they're probably going to be unhappy. Maybe they'll rise to the occasion and do better than you thought, but probably not. At least not if your expectations are like here, and his skills are here, or here, let's say. Sorry, here. That's unrealistic. Likewise for yourself, like if you're extremely tired and you expect yourself to have the same output as when you're fresh and like have just had a nice 7-8 hours of sleep, that's unrealistic. Can you still will through that tired portion and get things done? Of course, but to expect to have the same output is unrealistic. But if you don't understand how consciousness works, and that is kind of like focusing is consciousness, or is an aspect of consciousness, and you're like, man, I'm doing bad, like this sucks, like I'm not as dialed in, and then you beat yourself up over it, unrealistic. Versus, oh, yeah, this makes sense. It's unrealistic for me to expect the same output. I'm still going to try because, whatever, I need to finish this project, but I shouldn't beat myself up over, a drop in productivity. Yeah, like we can't work miracles. Anyways, okay. So that sort of makes sense to me. What is or is not one's fault? I am going to write these down because I think that'll help solidify the understanding in my mind. What is or is not one's fault? I'm going to come back to that after I write some stuff down. Okay, here's another way to put this first point. No knowledge of what is or is not possible to them. So if you think that you could will anything to happen, literally anything to happen, let's say, any outcome you want. And let's say I'm 5'7", I'm a short king, and I try to go and make it in the NBA. I'm also not very athletic. I can't jump very high. I have played basketball, love basketball. Very short arms too. I don't know if you can see this. They are not long. So the chances of me making it to the NBA, fucking extremely minuscule. I don't know what they are, but it's like 0.00 something %. If I believe in my mind, oh, I can do if I can will it to happen, I can just make it happen. I'm setting myself up for failure. Of course, there are stories where people overcome all odds, but A, those are extremely rare, and B, there's probably other circumstances that we're not aware of that are helping them achieve those goals. Of course, they put in a shit ton of work, but there are other things going on as well. So if I lay out all the factors of me making the NBA, it's yeah, that's not happening, bro. So small. And if I'm just no, it can, if I want it, it will happen. And if I just, wish hard enough and believe in myself and still put in effort, but really believe in myself, it will happen. I'm probably going to live a life of I don't know, disappointment, because I'm never going to reach this goal that I've set for myself, because that goal is basically impossible. Maybe there's a slight chance, but it's it is minuscule. I would probably be out I don't know, probably at the college level or at the high school level. It's oh, that's when sorry, I'm going on a tangent. And that relates to consciousness. Instead of what you need to do is you need to look at the facts and then make a conclusion based on facts. Based on, oh, okay, I'm a very hard worker, but genetically, no, I was not gifted for this sport. And you have to weigh that, and you have to think about that and say, okay, given that, I probably shouldn't pursue this or put much stock in it, or much, I shouldn't give myself a high chance of making it. You can still go for it, especially when you're young, because, like, fucking why not? But, like, you should have realistic expectations. You shouldn't be delusional, I guess. I think that's a good example. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. But you know, it's not only that I'm going to fail at the goal of making the NBA, I'm also going to feel like shit, probably. Because I'm never going to meet this expectation I've set for myself. I'm always going to fall short, and probably drastically short. Is that the right word? Like, there's always going to be a big gap between where I want to be and where I actually am. And at some point, if I, like, let's say I held on to this belief, if I just will it, it will happen, I'm going to go to my deathbed never achieving my dream. Instead of, no, conform, like, make your dreams, I mean, of course you still want to have dreams, but, like, your dreams need to fit facts. They can't be completely delusional and grandiose and without any basis in reality. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure, especially if you pursue your dreams. You're setting yourself up for a life of failed dreams, of failed pursuits. Instead of, what is something that would, like, be really awesome to achieve that I can actually do that would still require a shit ton of work, like, whatever, put in your 10 years or whatever, 10 plus years of, like, hard, intense work, but that would still, like, that I can actually do, that I can actually go out and do. And even then, you still might not know, but you can at least be like, okay, there's a much greater chance of me actually achieving this dream versus making the NBA. Okay. Oh, here's another thing. I think this relates to the fault point. Let's continue on this NBA example. If I never make the NBA, let's say I'm like 60 or something, and I'm just like, wow, I failed. I couldn't achieve my dream. When it's like, bro, no, the cards were set up against you. And, like, let's say I put in, like, I did everything I could. I worked extremely hard. I gave up all other areas of my life, and all I did was play basketball and try to get better at basketball. Had no relationship, like, had no friends, had no wife, had no kids, had no hobbies. It was basketball. It was basketball. So I literally, like, I put everything on this. And I'm like, whatever, I'm 40, 30, whatever. I'm old. I'm past the age where you can make the NBA realistically. It's like, oh, well, I failed. I'm I'm a failure. I'm a bad person. I feel guilty because I didn't achieve my dreams. And it's like, bro, no, it's not your fault. You did everything you could. You did everything in your power. But simply, like, that goal was never possible for you. because of your genetics, because of whatever, these things. And so you shouldn't blame yourself. You should be like, damn, I gave it my all, and I'm proud of that. And I fell short, but perhaps maybe I still had a really good basketball career. Maybe I played overseas or coached or did something different. You know what? I could still be proud of that, even if I fell short of this lofty thing, because that thing was impossible, or at least extremely improbable. Extremely improbable. And then, as a result, you feel a lot better about yourself than if you hold yourself to this insane standard of, I have to achieve my dream or else. Or else I'm a failure. So if you can tell, I used to want to, I did want to play in the NBA when I was younger. So it's a little home for me. For not achieving my dream. All right. Next bit. So on the implicit premise that consciousness has no identity, men alternate between the feeling that they possess some sort of omnipotent power over consciousness and can abuse it with impunity. So I think this relates to the example I just put forth. You believe consciousness is omnipotent, and if you will it, you can make it happen no matter what it is. So I can will myself to the NBA. But then I guess I didn't really touch on the alternative, which is you believe you have no control over everything, that like you're an automaton, as she says, and you're driven by causal factors outside of your control. This is basically determinism, and because of that, you take no responsibility for anything in your life, and you believe you have no agency, you have no control over your actual life outcomes, which is not true. There are some things you can't control. There are some things you can't. And the result of that is, I mean, yeah, probably, there's a lot of stuff. Like, you probably can't feel self-esteem, I imagine, because you can't take responsibility for anything, or any of your achievements, because those achievements were caused by factors outside of your control. So you definitely can't feel that. You lose a sense of pride in like the positive sense of like, yeah, feeling proud for what you've done because you didn't do it. Other things did it. What else do you lose? You probably have a feeling of help. Well, I don't know. You could either have a feeling of helplessness, like, yep, no control, or a feeling of, I guess, acceptance, like, yep, whatever happens is what happens. I think both are a very passive way to live, which isn't good. I think it would breed a nihilistic worldview. Maybe not nihilistic, but definitely a pessimistic one, because if you can't change things and you think the world sucks, which a lot of people do, it's like, well, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. And you're just like, that's not great. versus, oh, I can have some influence, and we all can have some influence, therefore we can make things better. We can choose to make things better. Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's, I don't know, political situations, maybe it's whatever. Name your problem in the world. If we have free will, we can do something about it. If we don't, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And if we're on a downward trend, then that downward trend is just going to continue, and we can't, oh, that voice crack. That downward trend is just going to continue, and we can't do anything about it. Which fucking sucks. So, now again, if determinism is true, then it's true. You have to accept all those things then, and that's just what it is. Now, if it isn't true, and you do accept it as true, so if determinism's false and you think it's true, then you're going to have all these problems come up, and you can feel self-esteem, you can feel pride, you can solve problems, you can have agency, you can have all these great things, but because you believe in determinism, you're incapable of feeling or achieving any of those things. Or at least largely incapable. Of course, people are mixed, like, maybe they're not, like, I don't know, or people might not know what they believe, and so it's, like, they might not know they're a determinist, but that's like the implicit idea they accept, so then, like, it gets a little muddy, but that's, like, kind of the extreme example. Okay. I want to write down the rest of this, because this is just, I think, a really just clear and powerful point. Excuse me. All right. One thing to note is this point. On the implicit premise that consciousness has no identity. So I don't fully understand that. Rand claims, I think she claims, that a lot of modern philosophers, like that's the premise that they hold about consciousness, that there is no identity, which is impossible because everything has identity. The law of identity, that's an axiom. You can't get around that. Like, and if consciousness had no identity, then it is nothing. Nothing in particular, which means nothing, which doesn't make sense because clearly it's something. So, but that's the result. If consciousness has no identity, then it can be whatever you want it to be. Because it's nothing in particular, so then, but in actuality it is something. And because we use it, okay, we can, whatever. You can pigeonhole anything into consciousness. Hence you get this, oh, we're determined because that's whatever. Or we are omnipotent and if I will it, it can be so. Yada, yada. Okay. That probably didn't make sense. Again, I don't really understand this super well yet, but that's like a key point. Like that is the fundamental premise that results in these two viewpoints. That's interesting. Damn. All right. Most men are crippled by the influence of this uncertainty. When such a man considers a goal or desire he wants to achieve, the first question in his mind is, can I do it? Not what is required to do it. So one goes to consciousness, can I do it? The other goes to, I guess, existence. What is required to do it? What does this goal, what is this goal, what does this goal require? Just restating what she said. Can I do it? Am I capable of doing it? His question means, do I have the innate ability? For example, I want to be a composer more than anything else on earth, but I have no idea how it's done. Do I have the mysterious gift which will do it for me somehow? He has never heard of a premise such as the primacy of consciousness, but that is the premise moving him as he embarks on a hopeless search through the dark labyrinth of his consciousness. Hopeless because without reference to existence, nothing can be learned about one's consciousness. All right, I don't know this. I wonder if this is a straw man because I wonder. That's what comes to my mind. This seems sort of straw man-like because when I talk, like, or at least even when I set goals and I'm like, well, can I do it? Is it like I don't mean like, do I have the innate ability? I typically mean, do I have the skills right now to be able to do this thing? And if I don't, can I acquire them or learn? And also, talent is a real thing. Like innate talent. I don't know if it's innate talent, but like proclivities and those sorts of things. Like those are clearly real. Especially in sports. Like clearly there are like genetic proclivities for someone to be better at one sport versus the other, or just really good at one sport. So there's some innate thing in that respect. But like let's analyze her example. I want to be a composer more than anything else on earth. So I don't know what goes into being a composer. I'm sure there's like talent. There's talent things, or like there's a talent associated with it. Like I know, like if you're tone deaf, probably not going to be a composer, right? So there are like preconditions for even being okay at something. Now, so that's a small point, but something to consider. Now, maybe that's a bit tangential though. Like I think what Rand is getting at is because even in things that require innate talent, the first question, if you really want it, you really want to go after something, you should ask what is required to do it, and the answer to that might be some talent, or it probably will be some talent. Like, all right, let's go back to the NBA example. You don't ask, can I do it? You say, okay, what do I need to do in order to get to the NBA? And then you figure all those things out, and then you say, okay, can I do these things? Again, over a long enough time. Maybe I can't do them right now. Can I, let's say over a course of 10 years or whatever, do these things? And again, in certain contexts, like with the NBA, it's like, well, are you over 6 foot? Okay, that's going to reduce your chances greatly. Are you, whatever. You have certain characteristics. If you don't have those, which are mostly genetic, sorry. But then you could look at other fields like writing, or like you want to be an author or a fiction writer, or a businessman, or an engineer, or a scientist, or a musician, whatever the hell your thing is. You ask, okay, what is required to do it? Am I capable of achieving those things? If the answer is no, all right, not doing it. It's not, can I do it first? First, you have to know what you're dealing with, and you have to know what is required. So I do agree with that. His question means, do I have the innate ability? Like this, just this jump just feels so simple, like simple. It feels strawman-like. Like, I don't think that's what someone is thinking. Like, I want to be a composer more than anything else on earth, but I have no idea how it's done. Can I do it? Do I have the mysterious gift that will, like, I don't think that's what people are thinking. It's not, I don't think so. Of course, again, talent is real. Like, do I have that mysterious gift which will do it for me? I don't know, all right. I don't know, like the way she's phrasing this makes it like it's like she's completely undermining the question, can I do it? Which that's a really important question, because again, there are things you can't control. There is such a thing as innate talent for different things. Again, like being tone deaf, I don't think you can be a composer if you're tone deaf. I imagine not. And I'm pretty sure that's genetic. So that's a legitimate question. Like, am I capable of doing this? Oh, I'm tone deaf. Probably not. So, I don't know, it just seems strawman-like. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, I'm going to move on. If he does not give up his desires right then, he stumbles on certainty to attempt to achieve it. Oh, time's up. All right, boys. I gotta go. Where the fuck is... There it is. Okay. All right, guys. Good stream. First one with the new setup, so that's cool. Didn't get very far, but that's typical, and that's fine. Because I did a lot of thinking, so that's good. So tomorrow we'll be back, probably same time, or similar time at least. And we'll start here. And then I probably won't have chat set up tomorrow. I can promise that by probably this weekend. Yeah. This weekend I should have it set up. So, yeah. All right. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.